Hey there, are you looking for a fast, simple, and reliable way to buy and sell your product and services? Guess what? You found the right place. Venmun.com is a platform that makes it easy for you to find, buy, and sell your product and services. Venmun is free for everyone to use and super easy to get started with. So get started today at Venmun.com. See you soon. Hello everyone. My name is Seth Samuel, and welcome to the Venmun YouTube channel. And here we talk about different business issues, different business topics, and how to help you grow your business and how to help you get into business. That if you have not got into business yet. So I'm here with Mr. Viktor Kuchili. He's one of the most pronounced and most biggest voice in the business industry, especially here in the north or in Nigeria. He has spoken in a lot of places, from Jos, Abuja, and the rest, and he's very diverse about these topics, entrepreneurship. And he has also written books that he will tell you about in the later course of the program. So let's welcome Mr. Viktor Kuchili.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So can you tell us a little about yourself?
Well, my name is Viktor Kuchili. I am an entrepreneur, but most importantly, I will prefer the consulting and training part of myself. So I'm into business training and consulting. I'm also an author, and basically 3 areas: leadership and business development. I accidentally became an on-air personality. I have a program on air for the past 11 years where I talk to people about the issues in life.
So let's get right into it. So we've heard a lot of discussions around entrepreneurship, right? Many people are trying to get into entrepreneurship, saying it's like the key to all your problems. Once you're into entrepreneurship, that's it. All your problems will disappear, and then you get financial independence, you get to be your own boss and all. So I want to ask, is entrepreneurship truly the solution to gain financial independence?
Well, it's going to be all wrong to assume that that's the only path. However, it's 4 times more likely to get into financial freedom as an entrepreneur than a paid individual. So, but it doesn't mean that that's the only way to be able to get into financial freedom. The reason why it is much faster is because when we talk about even the speed, we're not talking about hitting it today. But we're saying that because it's a relationship, it's a risk you're taking over time, and it's able to solve human problems, and human beings will always have problems. You are likely to be in business for a long time and eventually get to financial freedom. And you're also able to control what you are dishing out and what's coming to you and how you are managing it. So that gives you the opportunity to be at the top of your game. Unlike if you are in a paid job where it's restricted, you do 8 to 5 or 8 to 4, and you're paid a certain amount of money, and you only get to grow according to whatever structure that organization has. So entrepreneurship is 4 times the platform likely for you to get financial freedom than a paid job.
So okay, yeah, based on what you said, like 4 times, right? It's not like the automatic solution.
Yes.
So what do you have to say to all these people? Because there are times that I want to get into just start up a business, but then I see people that just start and then leave that business and then go and just look for a normal paying job. So does one's personality has a role to play in whether you succeed in entrepreneurship or not?
Yeah, well, personality issues, yes. First of all, you need to understand that it's a risk. Entrepreneurship, from the French word, it just tells you that you're a risk taker. But we're not blind risk takers, we are calculated risk takers. It means that you are able to have a clear understanding of where you're headed to. Most of the reasons why you find a lot of people starting and failing is because most people do not learn about the business before starting the business. They start the business before learning about it. And so at the end of the day, they lose out. Now, business is not a mistake. It's not also a situation because you have an opportunity to access a lot of money, so that means you can get into business. In fact, it is not also because you are connected to a particular source of solution that makes you want to run a business. Business is a calculated attempt to solve a human problem, and that means that you must be somebody who is solution driven rather than just highlighting problems. And if you start the business for the wrong reasons, you will be good in the morning and die in the evening. That's why you find people saying that they've started the business this year and they're running to get jobs elsewhere because they probably didn't understand what it will take to be an entrepreneur. They don't understand that lots of confidence has to come into it, lots of patience has to come into it, lots of experience learning from other people has to come into it, the ability to find and manage cash, the ability to even source for it, the ability to know who you are servicing, what does he actually want, how do you deliver that to him. These are basic things you need to be able to know. So you don't just start because you feel like, you don't just start because you heard somebody say there's a lot of money, or you don't even start because Victor said it's 4 times more likely for you to get there. You get there because there is a problem you're trying to solve. And so your personality, it wouldn't be right to say that there are people who have got certain personalities that makes them successful business people. All personalities can, but the question is, all personalities cannot function in the same industry very well. If you are a person who loves to interact with people face to face, you're not likely to work effectively in high-tech companies, because high-tech requires you to be in one place, especially for instance software development that requires you to literally be concentrated on trying to develop the thing. You might find it very difficult. But how about if you love talking to people and you're in the service industry, you're into a hotel, you're into buying and selling, you're into trading. Okay, that connects with your personality as well. But every personality has a space in the business world. Every personality has a space in the entrepreneurial journey. But every personality has more energy in a particular industry than other industries. Okay, I love to teach, I love to talk to people. So it's easier for me to get into consulting and training, all right, than if I were someone who loves to just stay in one place and think quite deeply, as a phlegmatic or like an alcoholic would do. All right, you probably would be thinking, okay, this might not be all okay for you. You might want to start off doing something else. So it's important that that is clearly understood. But every person, every personality has a space in the entrepreneurial journey.
Okay, so now the big question. There are a lot of people that have ideas, right? And the next thing is capital. How do I start? And okay, let me paint a scenario, right? There are people that are just starting out, like they're young people, but then they have this idea, business idea that requires maybe 100 million naira to start it. And then they are constantly thinking of how do I raise that amount. And there are some that are just a small business, but still they don't have that capital. So I know you have written a book about this. So how do you raise capital for a business?
Now, first of all, the real challenge is even in the clarity of the idea. The capital thing for me has always been a deliberate cover-up for most people. When you hear people talk about capital, now I'm not saying that all of them, but if you take time and discuss with most people who talk about capital, you can find up to 70% who don't have clarity of the idea they're talking about. And that is why they can talk about 100 million or 10 million, 5 million, and then you ask them how did we arrive here, and there's no clarity to it. I'll give you an instance. About 7 young people had come to my office, no 5 of them, who wanted about 100,000 or thereabout. They said, no, they needed 5 million to start a business. And I said to them, how did you arrive at it? By the time we sat down and looked at the business plan and looked at the business model, I just discovered they needed about 70,000. 70,000 naira to start a business. They didn't need 5 million naira. So when somebody sometimes says it's capital, you need to ask, do you have clarity about the business idea? How did you arrive at 100 million? That is on one side. But again, for those who have clarity on their business ideas and they want to truly start with 100 million, then the next question is, how much of their money have they raised? Now, you can't budget in somebody else's pocket. No bank gives you 100%. You must bring something into the coffers, and then they bring in. In fact, most banks would rather have you bring in 30% while they give you 70% of the money. So you need to have that understanding. You probably, if you've never tried the business before, you should also know that you don't have history. So who's going to mix 100 million with you? You're excited about your ideas. Yes, that's you. What makes you think every other person is excited about it? So the first thing you need to understand is, am I even clear about the idea? And then if you are, and it must start with 100 million that you do not have, we usually say that you can scale it down. What can you start with? That's very critical. We call it necessity to passion. The passion is 100 million. Necessity is that I can start with 10,000 naira and build up my business. Okay, most people don't want the process, and that is where we fail when it comes to entrepreneurial journey. There is a process. You must pay your dues. Nobody is going to just throw 100 million. Facebook, before anybody could commit, they committed their funds. Microsoft, somebody had to commit. They needed to put in something before somebody committed his money. Dangote had to put in something before other people are opening up, before he even went to the stock market. People had to see what he was doing and able to support him. So the question is not even in the size. The question is, how much of your own money are you sacrificing into it? It begins to tell people that you believe in it. There's no reason why you need about 1 million naira and you're driving a 4.5 million naira car. If it's true, sell the car. Take 1 million naira and start. Now it's easier for me to connect with you than you're coming in and telling me that you need a 1 million naira to start a business and you're driving a 4.5 million naira car. Or someone walks up to you and says, I need just 10,000 to start a business, and he has a phone that is using up 50, 70,000. It says a lot about where the direction is. Why would I want to trust you with my money if you don't trust yourself with your money on your own idea? So it's important that you have that clarity. But assuming that all those things are said, you have checked. So how do I raise money? Now, there are different ways to raise money. Number one is to access of what you have there is to sacrifice. That's one, on your own pocket. It starts with your own pocket. The other is, well, what I say that is that there are people who've got either phones that could sell, they've got some jewelry they could sell, they've got something they could sell, and you can start with. Another source is to talk to friends and family and be clear with them. Are they going to give you a loan or are they just going to dash you money? That's very important. But friends and family can also be supportive. You'll see that in different communities in Africa. You can also go for a grant. There are a grant giving organizations right now. Part of what I do is consulting for international organizations like the German Technical Corporation at the moment. And I discovered that in the United States of America alone, there are over 201,000 companies, organizations that are ready to grant, to give you grants, and how to go about it. There are requirements, however, that you need to follow. So that is also very critical. Then you need to also look at the barter system still works. Most people think the barter system is an old thing, it doesn't really work. No, it means that if you've got something that somebody can take, for instance, you've got a space somebody can take and rent at a discounted rate, but he can give you some funds to start up something. It's barter. You've got what I want, I have what you want, so we can actually work on that. Then you can also look at cooperative societies. If you're a member of a cooperative society, and where I've consulted for most of the cooperative societies around the northern part of this country, I realize that they've got so much money. I can tell you with all sorts of confidence that I've seen cooperative society in excess of 1.5 billion naira in the accounts so they can actually support their members. In fact, one component of the cooperative society is for educating their members to be able to take advantage of whatever is being pulled together and they can start a new business. So you need to be very clear about that. Don't just go out borrowing them for consumer goods. Another source that you can actually work with, most people don't like going to, is the bank. Now, yes, the banks, especially in Africa or Nigeria, that have 11, 12 months period, so they're giving you money and they're thinking how fast they can get their money back. But the reality is that we've seen them give bigger companies with many years of material. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years. Conglomerates, aggregate of banks that come together and do that kind of loan. So these are some of the things you can do. And then necessity to passion. You could decide to just, okay, fine, give yourself 2, 3 years to work somewhere, earn the money, and then deploy it into whatever it is you're doing. These are different strategies that you can start. But if you don't have the source for 100 million, is it possible to scale your business down and have it for 10,000, 20,000 and not start? I give myself an instance as an example. The first company I registered Trust Concept was simply a business name. Let's even start from the registration. In Nigeria, once you graduate from the university or any higher tertiary institution, you go for 1 year compulsory service to the nation. We call it NYS, Youth Service Corps. And I was paid 7,500. And if you pull that together, it's about 19,000 every day. But I needed to eat, I needed to transport myself, to feed myself, and all of that. But I was able to save just 6,000 naira. Private limited liability company. So from 6,000 naira, I could be bold enough to now register a company of over 50, 60, 70 or 100,000 naira. So it had to start. The business, I believed in the business enough to put my 6,000 and it generated much more that I could up the capacity of the business to do more business. So that is a trend, that's the process that we need to follow. Many of us don't want to do that. So what do we expect? We want somebody that will give us money to have an official car, an office with an AC and everything is just too beautiful. I never started with a car or with an office. I still remain grateful for people who believed in me, like my mentor, who gave me a table and a chair in his office for 7 years. Didn't pay him a dime. So I had to struggle for 7 years to live, and he was looking at me and encouraging me and making sure he was paying the rent. He was paying for light. Now, at the sixth year, when we started getting some level of stability in the funds, I now opted, okay, can I pay for the light? Just trying to be responsible as you go through it. But this was somebody who could say, okay, come do it, we believe in you. But the only way he could do it was because I also sacrificed some part of the resources. You can't talk about capital when you are not ready to sacrifice anything. So these are some ways you can actually generate this capital. There are other ways that you can do it. You could go for there are state funds that are available that you can work on. You've got central bank interventions, federal government. In Nigeria, it's called the Central Bank of Nigeria. Recently with the COVID, we have seen about 11 interventions, and the average of those interventions rose to 1 billion naira. So you can imagine how much is going in to entrepreneurs. There are different sources, but they are disciplined and qualified to access them. Well, because it's a risk, you're getting into the field, you're getting into where people either have also started. One of the challenges is even personalized, where people do not learn, as I said, before starting. They come into entrepreneurship with limited knowledge about what it takes to do it. I'm not talking about the business itself, but what it takes as a human being in terms of confidence, in terms of doggedness, commitment, financial discipline, information seeking, your capacity to generate ideas, your capacity to work as a team, your capacity to open up and engage, be brutally honest with yourself. That is number one. Some people can't be honest to themselves or with themselves, and that challenge is there. The second challenge is where you don't have good knowledge of the type of business you want to get into. I've seen people very excited about ideas, and I've often said that for a man of ideas, you just need to give him one more idea to destroy him. In my book, Generating Business Ideas, I encourage people to realize that if you want to kill yourself and knock yourself out, is to start up with an idea and get excited with the next idea. And that's all. It just kills it. Kills the first one. So there is no what we call staying power. You start and stay through until the fruition. It has got a gestation period that it must go through to be able to birth the fruit that you want to see. Some people don't have that patience. But as I said, some people don't have the tenacity to go back and learn about the business. You want to go into tailoring, you've got no fashion design, you've got no knowledge about it. And just because you saw somebody turning out something good, you want to just get into that. You want to buy Ankara from the southern or eastern, western part of Nigeria to sell in the northern part, and you don't understand how it is moved. What are the things? How do you gauge it? How do you do your pricing? You don't understand that. You've got no negotiation skills. You want to get into farming. You've never owned a farm. You're also not learning from other people. So it creates that tension. Then you have not being able to read or scan the external environment because you're operating within an environment that certain things are not within your control. For instance, you don't even understand the legal status that allows you to operate. You must formalize. As a consultant, I've discovered that there are businesses that do not even have registration and they think they are businesses. In fact, by definition, a business only becomes a business with the legal component to it. So if you don't have a legal component, you're not getting anywhere. That's not a business. That's illegal. And, government can come after you. That extends to the fact that you also don't understand tax. Because you must pay tax. I'm an advocate for that. I just believe that you can't be enjoying facilities and then you're not contributing your own fair share. It's not right. You've got if you're driving on a good road, for instance, you've got light, you've got security, and government is providing. Now, in this part of the world, there's debate about whether government is doing as it should. That's a different fight. The most important thing, they are doing something, so you need to pay that tax. That's a regulation, okay? You need to be able to get that. And then some challenge in marketing. People do not know that at the heart of the entrepreneurship is the customer. It's the customer. Once there are no customers, that means there's no demand, and if there's no demand, that means you don't exist. So you are unable to identify the customer. If you don't identify who needs what you want, then how will you be able to serve the person? How do you even become effective in the journey of entrepreneurship? So they don't go out and truly learn to identify who the customer is. Then there's a challenge of being so excited about your project or your idea that you feel it can solve every problem. And I'm emphasizing that. My idea solves every problem. There's no idea. You can't solve every problem. It's not possible. So you need to find out the niche that you can operate very effectively in, so that you are careful not to just model yourself up into other things. Other areas is location. Yes, in modern times we say that the internet has leveled the ground, but again, there are certain businesses that location becomes very critical. If you go to where you have residential buildings, having a restaurant there will not be that effective because everyone just goes to eat. How about if you have a work environment? Okay, so that's also important. Your ability to scan the environment, to understand that. There is also the challenge of not understanding business, government policies that come in. You get into a business that the one policy can knock it out. Imagine people who were into rice and they were not adding value to the value chain, and government just says, stop rotation with rice and they are out. If you were good, if you understood rice and you were doing stuff with rice and rotation, did it occur to you that you could have a farm? Did it occur to you that you could have a banking system? Did it occur to you that you could collaborate with other people so that you can start having a factory right here? If you were doing that and the government says stop importation, it's for your good, it's for your gain, but you didn't understand that. So those are areas that eventually, and then some people start out without clarity as to how much they need. I give people an instance. If you have 12 kilometers to run, 1,200 kilometers, 1,200 kilometers to go, and your fuel capacity in the car could actually take about 600 kilometers. Will you still go? No, because you're just going to kill yourself, you're just going to waste the 600. You're not getting there, you're not here, and you're losing out everything. So these are some of the challenges that come into entrepreneurship.
Yeah. This reminds, when you're talking, it just reminds me of the pastel model. The pastel model means political, environmental, sociological, technological, economical, and legal. Yeah,
it's a model you use in analyzing the external environment.
Yeah.
It's almost like what you have in the SWOT analysis.
Yeah.
SWOT analysis gives you that. It's just to help you know your strengths and your weaknesses, but to also tell you these are the things you're exposed to that eventually will help.
So thank you for coming on the show. Now I'll have one more question for you. I already answered in the beginning, so and that was the question of, can anybody go into business? Well, you've already answered it.
Yeah, not really. I think this is even a different question. Can everybody go into business?
Yeah.
It's a yes or no thing. You could do some passive business, something we call a pig. You see, a business by definition is a system. It's a system. And a system means that even if you're not there, it can run. What people define business as business rather is actually a pig. PIG is a passive income generator. The meaning here is that you are doing some stuff, but you can close your shop and go until you open it before the thing runs. That's passive. That's not business. Business is a system, and that is why. But you know, a pig can grow into a system. So yes, everybody can, but no, not everybody is committed to the journey of building the system.
So, where can we find you?
Well, I'm in Jos. I'm based in Jos here, Jos, Nigeria, central Nigeria. And my office is at 6th Avenue, Federal Marcos. My Facebook page and other media handles are all up. You can actually access me at any point.
Yeah, so what are the handles if you want to get in touch with you or something?
Well, it's okay to give my number.
It depends on you. Yeah.
But it's nothing. 08038 646671.
Yeah, and then the Facebook page.
Facebook page is Viktor Kuchili. You also have Stepping Out Pearls, Viktor Kuchili. Stepping Out Pearls with Viktor Kuchili. That's one area you can absolutely access.
That's on Facebook.
On Facebook as well.
Then you have a Twitter.
Viktor Kuchili.
Yeah, and Instagram.
Yes, and that. So you can actually access me with those.
So it's been an honor having you on this 10th edition of our program.
Thank you.
And hope to see you very soon.
I'll be glad to come.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's the end of today's episode. We want to especially thank Go Virtual Africa for allowing us to use this spot. This is the best co-working space in Jos Plateau State. You can check them out at govirtualafrica.com. And if you don't know what Go Virtual Africa is, Go Virtual Africa is a tech hub and a co-working space located here at the heart of Jos in Redfield. So you can just check out. You can come always and just check them out. Thank you.